Hello, nerds, nerds for humanity. We are here to talk about the Veepstakes. Who is Kamala Harris going to pick for her running mate? And, there's a lot of discussion going on right now. A lot of people think it is for sure going to be Mark Kelly. He is the senator from the state of Arizona. Hold on one second. Huh? Interesting. I have a little bit of a error on my Twitter integration. So bear with me. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you get it, no problem. But the Twitter buddies, they may be missing out. Well, I guess what can I say? I'll have to look into that later. The show must go on. Okay. Do you think Yang is going for the VP slot with? No, I think he is very much concerned about Trump and what he has done to the country especially around Jan 6. And I think he just believes that's probably a disqualifying action. And because of that, he's probably thinking like, we got to go with someone else. And he's always been of the mind that you can't really have Trump back in. But the problem was that Biden was so old that he would lose to Trump. And so now we don't have to worry about that. So luckily, we have a different option. Yeah. Hey, Jeremy, are you on the East Coast? Yeah. Basically, Andrew Yang was the opposite of Donald Trump, so he's pretty much a never Trumper. Okay. So here's what we're going to do for this live stream. We're going to look at video of each of the main contenders, and we might pull up their Wikipedia kind of bio. And this way, everybody who's watching this stream or watching this video on replay is going to leave knowing a little bit about the top contenders for VP. And if you were curious who the gamblers think is going to be the VP, let me show you. Oh, hey, Jeremy. Yes, I see it's 10:30. Ooh, yeah, that is getting late. Well, if you can't make it through the whole thing, I don't blame you. But glad to have you at the beginning of the stream at a minimum. So you see Kelly has been the top dog really the whole time. Let's see, last month. Yeah, I don't think I can go back that far. Maximum. I think that is the maximum. So it's always been Kelly, then Shapiro, then Cooper, then Bashir, and then you had Buttigieg jump up yesterday. It's a big kind of like interest in Buttigieg went from 3% chance all the way up to 13%. But right now, it is Kelly 41, Shapiro 22.5, Cooper, Bashir, Buttigieg. Yeah, Shapiro 22.6. Interesting. Well, we're going to look at all of them. And we'll start at the top based on the gambler odds and see what we think of each. I will disclose to you all that I am a fan of, my God, Whitmer is like zero. She only has a 2% chance. That's low, even though she's on the vetted list. I wonder why Whitmer is so low. But I am I've always been impressed by Buttigieg. He's from a like intellectual horsepower point of view, he's one of the strongest people out there. I'm curious, like, why do you think he's not doing better? You think people are just concerned that the country's not ready for a gay vice president? I really don't care. But let's learn a little bit more about Kelly. All right, so we're gonna find. I think it's Mark Kelly. Let's go to YouTube. Mark Kelly interview. We'll just see a little bit about each one, and then see what we think of them. Okay. Is there going to be an actual interview of the dude? Oh, yeah, maybe a little bit. Okay. Yeah, let's watch this little brief local news. I just picked it kind of at random. Oh, Deuce is saying people say Pete is too smug. I don't find him that smug. I mean, like Don Jr., he's smug. But I suppose maybe Pete can come across that way, or maybe he's one of those guys that off camera is kind of a jerk. Could be. All right, let's see here. Mark Kelly. All right, here we go.
Takes. Democratic Senator Mark Kelly's personal biography is...
That's a cool jacket.
A huge asset. He's a former space shuttle commander and Navy combat pilot. That could help offset Democratic weaknesses among male voters. Kelly's wife, former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, is a bona fide hero. The gun safety advocate survived a near-fatal assassination attempt in Tucson.
Now, I've got, congratulations from Republican colleagues, on winning this race.
And Kelly has proved to be a political force in Arizona. He's won 2 Senate races in 3 years in our swing state. Each time he pulled in an astonishing $100 million in donations. But there are questions. Does Kelly have the political muscle to deliver the 11 electoral votes from...
All right, so quick observation. He seems like a very solid choice, a veteran from a border state. Probably appeals to some Haley voters. What don't I like about Kelly so far? He doesn't seem like the most dynamic person, but maybe that doesn't matter. It's just a VP. So far so good. Yeah, I could live with him.
From our must-win state.
The vice president, Kamala Harris, she doesn't like me.
And how would Kelly fare in a VP nominee's highest stakes mission? A one-on-one debate with Republican J.D. Vance.
I mean, I know these guys. I mean, J.D. Vance wants a total abortion ban.
Mark Kelly has remained silent on the VP speculation. He did tweet his support for Kamala Harris. I couldn't be more confident that Vice President Kamala Harris is the right person to defeat Donald Trump and lead our country into the future.
Interesting. Jeremy is saying Mark Kelly would be a solid pick, but do you think they would risk losing the Senate seat? I think they would. I think the Democratic Party, if they believe that Harris-Kelly would give them a significant edge to defeat Trump, they probably would be willing to give up a Senate seat in exchange for that. I don't know. Let's see. Let's ask ChatGPT. In Arizona, if the U.S. senator steps down, how is he replaced? I'm guessing the governor picks. Yeah, governor appointment temporarily, and it has to be from the same political party as the departing senator. Thank you, ChatGPT. So here, appointment must be from the same. So unless it's hallucinating, which it's AI, so it's possible, but appointment must be from the same political party as a departing senator. Well, then that means we wouldn't lose it. I suppose we could lose it if then in the special election we lose it. But I don't know. I guess he won by, let's see, how much did Mark Kelly win by last election? Ooh, yeah, okay. So he only won by 4.9 points, 51 to 46 to Blake Masters. Okay, yeah. I don't know. I think the Democratic Party and much of the country is so eager to keep Trump out of the White House, given all of the division he sows and, the whole kind of trying to override the Constitution thing. That they might be willing to take a chance on the Arizona Senate seat.
She has my support for the nomination, and Gabby and I will do everything we can to elect her president of the United States. In Phoenix, Bram Resnick, 12 News.
Governor Katie Hobbs has not yet officially endorsed Kamala Harris for.
All right. So that was a little taste of Mark Kelly. DK saying, hey, but Kelly's from Arizona. Arizona is not a swing state. Yeah, let's see what the latest polling is in Arizona. Arizona. Here we go. Arizona, yeah, not really a swing state. I don't think. Trump +8 and +5. Yeah. So picking Kelly doesn't help you with Arizona, but it could help you with a lot of swing states like, Michigan or Pennsylvania. He might appeal to a lot of people outside of Arizona. So that's Mark Kelly. All right. Now let's see who is the next most likely. Shapiro. Okay, let's see if we can find a recent interview with Shapiro. And Josh Shapiro interview. All right. Oh, there looks like a good one. Let's share screen.
If she asked, would you consider joining Kamala Harris?
Are we not talking about concrete anymore, or what? Got to finish your question, Dan.
If she asked, would you consider joining Kamala Harris on her ticket?
Well, let me begin by saying a word about President Biden. I had the privilege to be able to speak to him just a few moments after he issued his statement yesterday. President Biden is an extraordinary public servant. He has served this country, the state of Delaware, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania as our third senator for a long time, and of course this nation so honorably. And the work that he has done is going to lead to positive change for generations to come. We're talking about one of those particular.
Bro, this dude, he sounds presidential. Oh, I like the little sense of humor at the beginning of the interview. He speaks with confidence. I gotta say, this dude is legit. Let's keep. Oh, Music Spinner is saying I should try Claude 3.5. Okay, yeah, I did a comparison a couple months ago, and I thought GPT-4 was better than Claude, but maybe the new 3.5 Sonnet is a big leap forward. Yeah, my wife loves Claude, so okay, let's keep going with Josh.
Killer decisions here that the EPA is announcing today. I couldn't be more grateful for President Biden's service. President Biden has often remarked that one of the most important decisions he had to make was selecting a vice president. And in that, he selected Vice President Harris, who has been by his side as this nation has built ourselves back and made extraordinary progress. President Biden yesterday endorsed Vice President Harris. as did I, as did many across this country, not only because of how honorably she has served in the past, but how absolutely ready she is to be president and to be the standard bearer for our party. She will now have to make an important decision as...
I don't think he's reading off a teleprompter. You know what's interesting? We have been so conditioned by both Trump and Biden to expect political leaders to be incoherent, that when you have someone that can speak in paragraphs concisely, confidently, with pretty good cadence, it's like, oh my God, it's the second coming of Obama in a good way. So yeah, Shapiro, legit. I see it. I see you, my
then
friend.
candidate Biden had to make, and that is who to run with, who should be her running mate. That's a deeply personal decision, and a decision that should be made really free from any political pressure. It's a decision she needs to make, who she wants to govern with, who she wants to campaign with, and who can be there to serve alongside her when she serves as, God willing, the 47th president of the United States. She will make that decision when she is ready, and I have all the confidence in the world that she will make that decision along with many others in the best interests of the American people.
All right.
I want to bring in our team of...
That was pretty freaking impressive. I have to say, I prefer Shapiro over Kelly. Probably, let's see. Maybe Shapiro. Let's see, what has been his position on Gaza? I've heard people say, well, but he might piss off the activist wing of the Democratic Party. What has been Josh Shapiro's position on a ceasefire in Gaza? Against a ceasefire. Oh. Yeah, Josh. Yeah, that's not going to work. That's not going to work, guys. Number one, I'm very pro ceasefire, but I think a lot of people in the Democratic Party are also pro ceasefire. Has nothing to do with his religion. I realize he's Jewish. I don't really care what his religion is, but if he's saying no ceasefire until Hamas is completely eliminated, that's a problem. That's almost like Netanyahu level kind of extreme positioning, if you ask me. Oh, that sucks. That sucks. Let me know in the chat. Am I being too hard on Josh? Like, I mean, even just from a completely pragmatic point of view, do you think the non-committed folks in Michigan would stay home? I think they might if Shapiro is the pick. All right, well, that sucks. Okay, but let's see who's next. We have Cooper. 13% chance of being the VP. Okay, let's see if I can find a video of Cooper. Cooper interview. Roy Cooper. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's see.
Harris 100% for this job as president. I've known her a number of years. We served as attorneys general together. She has to win. She has to stop Trump. And I want her to get the very best person she can get as vice president. That being said, I respect her process, and I'm not going to comment on it any further than that.
Nick? Yeah, Governor, what is your message to Donald Trump as he prepares to come to Charlotte tomorrow to campaign?
Well, he has an opponent who is a prosecutor. He's obviously a criminal. He has an opponent who has protected consumers. He's a con man. He has an opponent who was able to put women's reproductive freedom front and center while he has destroyed.
Oh God, this guy seems kind of boring. I don't feel like he's got that Shapiro kind of charisma. So Deuce, Cooper is also not pro ceasefire. He's not quite. I think Shapiro has been very clearly like, until Hamas is gone, no ceasefire. Cooper's been a little bit more kind of silent on that, but I just find Cooper boring. I mean, maybe that's okay. Maybe it's fine that your VP is boring. Harris, Cooper, I suppose. I mean, probably there are some people who like, for whom someone like Cooper like appeals to them. It doesn't really get me inspired so far. I mean, let's watch a little bit more of Cooper, but I don't know. He kind of feels like a peeking at governor, maybe.
Roe v. Wade. This is a stark contrast. I believe that the people of North Carolina and people all over the country have had enough of Donald Trump. And I believe that Vice President Harris has been able to excite and unite not only Democrats, but unaffiliated and Republicans who really don't want to see Trump elected as president again.
ABC.
Did it come as a shock to you?
Hey, this
when
guy's
President
boring.
Biden stepped down for real?
I'm not. I mean, let's see. Is there something else about Roy Cooper that, like, hold on a second. Okay. I find Roy Cooper kind of boring and uninspiring. Why is there so much interest in him as a potential VP for Harris? Electoral success and experience, key swing state. Okay, so we need North Carolina. Moderate and pragmatic approach. Expand Medicaid. Southern. Okay. Yeah. Sounds like a great resume. Yeah, just I don't know. Not blown away. Didn't strike me as being a particularly brilliant mind, but maybe it's unfair to judge people by a 2-minute video, but we're here probably learning more about our VP options than a lot of people. Okay, next person is Bashir. Let's check out Bashir. Maybe he'll be more interesting. Okay. Where? Oh, Bashir interview. Oh, is that him? Hold on. Here we go. Okay, Music Spinner saying we need commentary on contrast with Vance. Okay, so let's catch up on that. Thank you for the feedback, Music Spinner. Okay, so we've seen Kelly. How does he contrast with Vance? Kelly would make Vance look like a little boy, little kind of chubby boy with big cheeks. Now, I'm not one to speak because I'm kind of chubby and have big cheeks too, but I'm not running for VP. I think he would kind of make Vance look a little bit like a minor league player, and Kelly would be like, "Wow, that's a former, astronaut, served in U.S. Senate, probably has done, lived a lot longer." Maybe that could work against us. Maybe they could make him look old, but then again, Vance's running mate is like ancient. So I think Kelly would match up well with Vance. Shapiro, I think, would probably run circles around Vance in terms of his oratory skills and how quickly he seems to be able to think on his feet. Who are we looking at after that? The Cooper. I don't know. Cooper would probably give a neutral performance, like he wouldn't hurt us. Maybe he would come across a little more like knowledgeable about policy, or he could talk about execution. But Cooper's just so boring. I don't know. I'm just not feeling the Cooper. Let's see. Then we're going to look at Bashir. Let's see what Bashir is like. Okay. I don't think Yang's going to get picked for VP, but we can all dream. But maybe Yang could be a cabinet member. Yeah, I think he would up. I think you're right, Deuce. I think so far, Kelly's probably better than Shapiro and Cooper. It's just a damn shame. I kind of wish Shapiro, maybe he could come out and be a little bit more moderated, balanced on the whole ceasefire thing, but maybe he feels deep conviction that there shouldn't be a ceasefire ever. I don't know. Until Hamas is wiped off the face of the planet. Hey, Dylan. Good to see another channel member in the live stream. Jeremy, I think you're seriously underestimating Vance. Tim Ryan was a talented debater, and Vance beat him. That is good. That is a good point. I'm judging Vance based on his very awkward convention speech and his very awkward rally speech and his very awkward interview with Trump. But that doesn't mean he can't be a great debater. So actually, let's take a look at highlights from Vance Ryan debate, because Tim Ryan was on Nerds for Humanity, and I found that he was a pretty strong, smart communicator. So, yeah, I am kind of curious what the hell happened there. Let's take a little look-see.
It's Nancy Pelosi, JD, for leadership. And you have to have the courage to take on your own leaders. These leaders in DC will eat you up like a chew toy, right? I mean, you were calling Trump America's Hitler. Then you kissed his ass.
That's not true.
It is true. And then you kissed his ass, and then he endorsed you. And you said he's the greatest president of all time. Mitch McConnell gave you $40 million to prop up your campaign. Peter Thiel gave you $15 million. That's $55 million, JD. What do you think they want for that? They want your loyalty. And you proved that you'll kiss their ass too.
You've taken tens of millions of dollars, Tim, from technology companies, from out-of-state money. What percent of your donors have come from the state of Ohio? A very small share. His entire campaign is based on sucking up to the national Democratic establishment. And of course they support you, Tim, because you support their policies 100%. Now, here's what happened. He says he challenged Nancy Pelosi for leadership, but then he goes on national TV and says that he loves her. Is that the price of challenging Nancy Pelosi?
The quote of me saying, I love Nancy Pelosi, was right before I said I'm running against her. You know why? Because I don't have to hate anybody. I don't have to hate Republicans. I don't have to hate Nancy Pelosi or Joe Biden. I don't have to hate them. We need to move the political. This great replacement theory was the motivator for the shooting in Buffalo, where that
disgusting. I'd like to get here's exactly what happens when the media and people like Tim Ryan accuse me of engaging the great replacement theory. I'll tell
You
you
were
exactly,
peddling it.
I'll
You
tell you
were peddling
exactly
that.
what happens, Tim. What happens is that my own children, my biracial children, get attacked by scumbags online and in person because you are so desperate for political power that you'll accuse me, the father of 3 beautiful biracial babies, of engaging in racism. We are sick of it. You can believe in a border without being a racist. You can believe in the country without being a racist. And this just shows how desperate this guy is for political power.
Okay. I see what you're saying. You know, I think, Jeremy, you have a point that he is a pretty good debater. I didn't think that he like wiped the floor with Tim Ryan. But yeah, so he's a better debater than he is a speech giver. He sucks at giving speeches. He's very awkward and strange, which is funny because the Republicans are always saying that Kamala's awkward, but I don't know. I don't know why Trump picked him. I feel like Trump regrets it and would not shock me if Trump fires Vance, not only because he doesn't like Vance, but he knows that he needs to win, and Vance doesn't really help him with swing states in the way that a Burgum might have. But also, it would be great media coverage. So maybe a, September surprise is in the works. Yeah, Tim Ryan, that he would be an interesting VP pick. That would be Harris Ryan would be pretty interesting. Okay, my favorite topic. What has Tim Ryan, former congressman, said about Gaza ceasefire? Tim Ryan has not made a definitive public statement regarding ceasefire in Gaza. He has not responded to requests for his position on the issue. There's no clear record of his voting history or public statements about Gaza ceasefire. Well, I suppose that's a good thing in that it gives him some option value. So Tim Ryan may not necessarily piss off the kind of pro-ceasefire wing of the Democratic Party. Okay, interesting. Yeah. Maybe he'll be the dark horse, but let's see the next most likely. What's Yang's position on ceasefire? That is a good question. I don't know, but let's ask. What is Andrew Yang's position on a Gaza? Support for Israel's right to defend itself. Two-state solution. Yeah, he's not really kind of doing the Tim Ryan thing, I think. Hasn't really said one thing or another. And as much as I disagree with Shapiro, you got to respect that he came out and was like, no, I'm not for a ceasefire until Hamas is gone. I don't agree with it, but at least he took a position. Maybe Tim Ryan and Yang are a little kind of more strategic. We've been putting off Bashir for a while. Let's see Bashir. But so far, I think Kelly is probably the strongest. It would have been Shapiro. So we should also, after this, we'll do a little more due diligence and find out, well, what exactly has Shapiro said about ceasefire? Maybe he hasn't. Maybe he left a little daylight there. Okay, right off the bat, Bashir's a good-looking gentleman. That's never a bad thing.
Well, thank you for having me this morning. I want to thank President Biden for being a phenomenal president. He led us out of a pandemic faster than we have ever seen. He showed up in Kentucky after natural.
He's not as good of a speaker as Shapiro is, but maybe he's got like a little bit of Southern appeal, which could be helpful, like in Georgia.
Disasters and has helped us rebuild. He's helped us build the best economy in our history, building the 2 largest battery plants on planet Earth, the cleanest, greenest recycled paper mill we've ever seen, creating jobs all over Kentucky and providing the funding to run internet access to every home and every business.
He sounds a little rehearsed. Let's see a few more questions with him, though.
His decision, I know, was hard, but it's going to secure his legacy that I believe historians are going to say was a great presidency. With that, I'm excited to fully endorse Vice President Harris as for the next president of the United States. The vice president is smart and strong, which will make her a good president, but she's also kind and has empathy, which can make her a
I don't know why everybody's so excited about Bashir. I'm not that impressed based on what we just saw. Music's like, sounds a bit like Gore. Yeah, or like Cooper, like kind of boring. Kim says Bashir has the charisma of a cardboard cutout. Yeah, I'm not feeling Bashir. We may need to keep shopping. So let's see. We've looked at Kelly. I mean, if you're okay with boring, why don't you take Kelly? Because then he's a veteran. I think him being a little older will appeal to some voters. Man, Shapiro is so strong as a communicator, has a great record. Let's see. Can you be more specific on exactly what Josh Shapiro has said about a potential ceasefire in Gaza and the provision of offensive military aid to Israel used on Gaza. Okay, maybe he has a little bit more of a nuanced position and we will get some daylight here, because I really would love to find a way to get Shapiro in there. Shapiro has taken a firm stance as long as Hamas remains in power. He stated that calls for a ceasefire are premature. Hamas needs to be eliminated. Oh. Shapiro's position reflects a strong support for Israel's military actions against Hamas. He has consistently emphasized the importance of Israel's security. Huh. That's well, yeah. I don't think the ceasefire wing of the party is going to be down with that. But as Music Spinner says, yeah, Kelly has been an astronaut. I think we're gonna have to knock off. I don't think we can include Shapiro, guys. I mean, maybe if Kamala loves him and she's like, screw it, the activist voters are gonna stick with us. They're not gonna stay home. Maybe the reproductive rights stuff will get them out. And we're going to get Pennsylvania for sure. Okay, then we looked at Cooper, boring. Bashir, kind of robotic. Oh, Buttigieg. Let me tell you guys something. I hear you that people... Oh, Dylan is not feeling Shapiro. I'm curious, Dylan, do you dislike Shapiro because of his position on Gaza or just for other reasons? Let me know in the chat. So Steve is saying, hey, look, you need Pennsylvania. Well, yes, you do. Although if we lost Michigan because of Shapiro, that would kind of suck. Lou is saying, hey, Harris has been calling for a ceasefire since March. You know, she might be able to win back the activist folks, the ceasefire guys. Maybe. Okay, let's take a look. I know you guys say that Buttigieg is smug, but this bro is a freaking very smart dude. Okay, Pete Buttigieg, congressional hearing. Let's see. Okay, now this I'm gonna give you a caveat that I'm pretty sure these clips were cherry picked and showing some of his best moments, but even if they were, like, if you're gonna, fine, let's take a 10% discount off of the quality of these responses, but just check it out.
Expensive. Wait till you find out how much oil and gas subsidies you've been supporting.
Boom! Pete Buttigieg, United States Secretary of Transportation, was brought into question by Republican lawmakers.
No, we're building parking spaces.
EV Republican from Arkansas and
focusing on, like, for example, parking spaces for truck drivers.
I'm glad you raised that. As you probably know, we're building parking spaces for truck drivers.
Instead of spending the money on parking spaces, you're spending the money on appeals in the court system.
The grant programs for parking spaces don't come out of the same part of the budget as lawyers working on appeals, Congressman.
You really think it's a good allocation of taxpayer resources to challenge a legal decision for which you have no authority to make a rule on?
Yes, anything we do we think is a good allocation of taxpayer resources. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it.
The Biden administration is on a mission to force consumers to buy electric vehicles that they clearly don't want.
No, we're not.
Of the 282 million. Well, let me tell you, Mr. Secretary, is there a time that you will say, you know what, this is just too expensive. This is just too expensive. We want to rethink this policy. Is there ever a time that you're going to say that it's too expensive?
If you think this is expensive, wait till you find out how much oil and gas subsidies you've been supporting. Also, wait till you find out the economic impact that some economists have put at $15 million every hour or every day, trillions of dollars every year from allowing the environmental conditions in this country and the planet to worsen.
Here's Representative John Duarte, neighbor.
Electric vehicles being produced and subsidized by American taxpayers today are slavery-free fair trade vehicles.
I should certainly hope that they are, and if there's any specific evidence of any violation of any provision to prevent forced and child labor of any product, any of the 159 products listed,
will you speak to our
we
friends
will
from
work on
Congo
that.
and
I'm just
on your way out?
astonished that people who have shown zero interest in confronting forced or child labor on any of the other 158 products listed are suddenly terribly concerned about it on this one
We are
product, which we can
subsidizing
actually
this
do
with American
without that
taxpayers.
much
This
cobalt.
isn't just about unfair competition. This is about subsidizing child labor through American.
Then why didn't you vote for the provision to
The
move it
time has
onto U.S.
expired.
soil?
The gentleman's time has expired.
Berlin.
Aggressor to the states, and yet you're saying that it's fine so long as we're saving lives in America.
That's not an accurate characterization of what I've said. We wish you would have supported us in moving more of this onshore so it'd be produced in America, but the legislation did pass. And to take graphite alone, we're going to be able to supply, we estimate, 47% of it domestically. Nobody believes in allowing any product that doesn't meet labor standards to be imported to the United States. And if you'd like to work with us on making sure any of the 159 items
let's
concerned
talk
to
about
include cobalt
your view
can be
that it
better
saves
enforced, we'd
lives.
welcome that.
We're not seeing the reports of vehicles, like an epidemic of regular gasoline vehicles catching fire.
You're not?
Across the United States.
You've never heard of gasoline
Does it
fires
take
in vehicles?
150,000 liters of water to put out?
Are you familiar with what happened to the I-95 bridge? Let me assure you that the use of flammable liquids to propel hundreds of millions of vehicles includes hazards. Let me also make you aware that the American Chemical Society estimates that 9,700 Americans a year die from the pollution associated with passenger vehicle use in this country.
You
We've
see
just
my
never
point?
been the kind of country that holds on to old technology because we're working on problems
You
with the
see
new
my point?
technology.
The American people are seeing what's happening, and they have serious concerns.
A battery dying is a problem, just like running out of gas is a problem, which is why we're investing in addressing that. I've just never thought of that as an excuse to hang on to dirty and expensive fuels and old technology.
Dude. He would fillet JD Vance. He would fillet JD Vance. Oh my God. Okay, is he smug a little bit? I saw a little bit of the smugness. But my God, that guy's smart, dude. He's smart and he knows the facts and he can like hold people accountable and deconstruct kind of MAGA talking points better than anyone right now. Okay, Dylan is saying in the chat, I dislike Shapiro over Gaza, but he has a bunch of other faults. He supports cutting Pennsylvania's corporate tax. Okay. Music Spinner, I think, also is feeling like that was a good performance by Buttigieg. Let me know if you guys want to watch a little bit more. There's a little bit more of that hearing. Let's watch another minute because, dude, it just freaking slays.
Well, the American people disagree. They do.
Well, no, the American people
buying-
disagree with you because every year
They're
they
not
buy
buying
more
these
EVs.
No,
Why do you think
the
they're buying
government
more
is
EVs
buying-
every year than before?
Because it was present the numbers because every
Sure, 1.2 million vehicles were purchased last year, and every single
how many
quarter,
of them were government?
How's that?
How many of them were purchased by the government?
Approximately 0.5%.
Of the number, you're saying
Of the EVs, about 0.5% were purchased by the federal government.
the only reason why people are buying them is because of the subsidy.
Well, the subsidy makes them more affordable and helps people buy them. That's true.
Thank you. My time has expired.
Oh, God.
And thank goodness for that.
Oh my God, dude. I love it. I love watching when Buttigieg goes on like Fox News and stuff. He is not afraid to go into the lion's den. I think okay, that's enough about me saying that Buttigieg is a good choice. And then I think after that, there really isn't anybody else, according to the betting odds. It's then Hillary Clinton, which we know is not going to happen. So let me give you my overall thoughts on these picks. Before I do that, I want to acknowledge the people who make this channel possible. And that is the channel members. So if you're watching this on YouTube, which since my Twitter integration is not working right now, I'll have to look into that. Click the join button. And as you may have noticed, I have a enhanced camera that I was able to acquire because of channel member support. Deuce is saying Hillary Clinton, the dark horse. I mean, actually, we never got Whitmer. So Mayor Pete and Whitmer are actually my favorites. And Shapiro, if he could find a way to moderate his position on the ceasefire, but I don't think he's going to do that, and I don't blame him. That might be his conviction. He has convictions about that. I get it. Okay, Gretchen Whitmer interview. I feel like she's not getting enough credit for being a really compelling leader, but let's see. Oh, you guys have no audio. Okay, hold on. Stop sharing. Hold on. Stop sharing. I got some error message just now. Let me try and share it again and see if you guys get audio this time. Tell me in the live chat. Hopefully.
All the divide that seemed to pop up during this campaign.
Let me know if
Do
you got
feel
audio
like
now.
this is the unifier that we needed?
I think this is a moment where people are going to now say, okay, this is a different scenario than I thought we were up for. Let's take a look and start to really get engaged earlier than maybe people otherwise would have. And I think that's a good thing. We saw, a convention that happened in Milwaukee. Now we're getting ready to go to Chicago for the Democratic convention. And I think when people see, and I don't know what the ticket is going to look like. I know it's going to be Kamala Harris at the top of it. But I think when people see all the Democratic leaders who will be on that stage talking about our future, trying to bring us together, having someone who knows how to get things done. I mean, she's a prosecutor. She has devoted more of her life to public service than the combined total of what's on the other ticket. This is, I think, a moment where we need someone who's
I
experienced.
like Whitmer. I like her. Why is Kelly so much more attractive of a VP candidate than Whitmer? And Bashir and Cooper, like, really? Like, what the hell do they have? Whitmer is the governor of freaking Michigan, and seems like a great communicator. She ain't no Shapiro, but she probably has a more moderate position on ceasefire. Well, let's find out. What is Governor Whitmer's position on Gaza ceasefire? Oh God, I'm freaking getting an A/B test. Governor Whitmer has not explicitly called for a ceasefire. Instead, she has focused on addressing the humanitarian needs, supporting the residents of Michigan who have been affected by the conflict, has asked the State Department to help Michigan residents stranded in Gaza. When confronted by protesters, she has declined to label Israel's actions in Gaza as genocide, saying that such terms are used to inflame and divide. Overall, Whitmer supports efforts to protect civilians and provide. By the way, can you guys hear my wife vacuuming behind? If you can, let me know. I can turn on like noise reduction. Overall, while Whitmer supports efforts to protect civilians, he has stopped short of advocating for a full ceasefire. Okay, with a more cautious and balanced approach. So I'm thinking that there's a little more wiggle room with Whitmer. She's not for ceasefire, but apparently Shapiro sounds like he's like, no ceasefire until Hamas is out of power. Okay, vacuum is coming through. Let me turn on noise reduction. Okay. Hopefully when Mrs. Nerd, I don't want to tell her not to vacuum, because if I tell her not to vacuum, she's going to be like, hey, I'm trying to keep the house clean for your brother's family who's visiting tomorrow, which is true. And then B, she might say that, well, then if I can't vacuum during your live stream, why don't you vacuum? And I don't want to vacuum. I have a robot that does that. Okay. Any rate, and I literally mean I have the iRobot, I'm not saying my wife is a robot. Mrs. Nerd is not a robot. We love you, Mrs. Nerd. Okay. I digress. So yeah, I think Whitmer doesn't get enough credit. I would put her above Cooper and Bashir based on what we saw tonight,
who
right?
cares about people and knows how to get things done, and that's Kamala Harris.
Well, Vice President Kamala Harris's presidential.
That was the end of that interview. We know that she's getting vetted. So I know. I have I let the iRobot do its thing, but I think Mrs. Nerd likes to do additional vacuuming with the Dyson, which is very powerful. Yes, you're right, Lou. We should allow Mrs. Nerd to vacuum. Okay, so I was thanking our channel members. Golly, I'm so distracted. Okay, we're going to thank the channel members, and then I'm going to give you my summary. So at the highest level is the member of the Nerd Cabinet. Nerd Cabinet member Soldier One, supporting this channel and this content for over 4 years. Next is Kristen Slevin, Bike, Zig PC, and Emily Quinn. These are members of Nerd Congress. Love it. You guys are awesome. Congressional members. Nerd City Council. Gene, David, DK, Jekalego, Mr. History, Mona, Vaughn, Yang, Dean, Galessa, Jay Perrin, Dana, Jason, Daniel, Jeremy, Mickey, Yoda, Jackson, Unkiyu, Ben, Truth, Nate, Mark, Jim, Toyota, Atana, Grits, Jam, Pauly, Curly, Human, Yang, Sagi, and Osama bin Chiefin. All right, and then we have our registered nerds. That's only $1.99 a month. It helps us pay for our streaming software, for our thumbnail photo editing software, for our podcast hosting fees. So you guys are all awesome. I'm just gonna scroll through our registered nerds. Love it. Okay. Oh, I think I see Dylan. And Lou. There's a bunch of you guys in the live chat. Let me highlight some of our members. So Lou's an advocate for letting Mrs. Nerd vacuum. Also, he's saying Whitmer might be good because of Vance's cat lady remarks. Oh, interesting. Yeah. I think that would be a good contrast. Yeah, Dylan saying Pete is unlikely. I mean, that's kind of sad. Maybe because I live in California, but like a black female and a gay man, whatever. Like as long as they make good decisions, who cares? It's their business. Let's see. Pete isn't the best to help win over Michigan. Yeah, he isn't, but he's just so smart. Jeremy's like, I'm not that impressed with Pete. Okay. Maybe I think the Rhodes Scholar McKinsey thing I find to be like, I know how demanding those programs are, but I get it. Doesn't mean everybody's going to love you for it. Vance is already amazing at imploding without. Yeah. Vance is just a crap pick. I think it's a good example of hubris and Trump thinking that he's running against Joe Biden, and Joe Biden did the old switcheroo on him. Is Mrs. Yeah, she is very pro ceasefire. So the Nerds for Humanity house is unified in favor of immediate ceasefire. We just think 39,000 people dead is that's a lot of retaliation. And this whole idea of like, we won't stop till Hamas is entirely eliminated, like, good luck with that, man. For every person you kill, you might be spawning new converts to Hamas, not to mention Hezbollah as well. So I don't know. I mean, I'm pro-Israel, but I actually agree with a lot of Israelis that Netanyahu, his activities are not good for Israel. They're good for Netanyahu. Okay, so in summary, let's take a look at the betting odds again. So, yeah, Kelly's fine. He's fine. I'm fine with him. Shapiro, I kind of like, bimodal on this guy. I love his record and his charisma and speaking ability. I just very much disagree with him on a policy issue that affects tens of thousands of lives that have been lost. I respect his position. I'm not saying like he's crazy. It's just I don't agree with it. I have very strong opinions on that one. Cooper, don't even remember him. Bashir, he was that kind of robotic, memorized speech giver. Buttigieg, valedictorian of his class, I'm sure, super smart, but might rub some people the wrong way. And I suppose, yeah, maybe the country's not ready for a gay vice president. I mean, like, who cares? Who freaking cares? Like, what we should care about is immigration reform, inflation reduction, debt reduction, sustainability of the planet. These are the things that matter. I don't really care if you're gay or not. Yeah, and I'm surprised. Like Kelly, I mean, I guess what the hell? Like, why is Kelly so damn popular? The astronaut thing? I guess Arizona, border state, maybe. Ooh, I think I might have a theory. Let's see. What has been Mark Kelly's position on border security? This might be why. He might give us a little bit of cover here because the Biden perception on the border is freaking crap. So he's for increased resources for Border Patrol, tech and infrastructure, works with Republicans to find common ground, humanitarian concerns, criticism of the wall, secure funding for border security enhancements, balancing effective security measures with humanitarian considerations and practical solutions. Yeah, okay. So that could be because Arizona is a border state, right? So, Deuce says, did we watch a Mark Kelly interview? We did. I mean, let's see another one. Maybe we saw a bad one of him. I'll find another one. Hold on. Stay here, guys. What the hell? Exit full screen. There we go. Mark Kelly interview. All right. Looks like we have another short one with him. Let's check that out. I gotta turn off my closing music because we're giving you guys a bonus reaction. Okay. Present, share screen, Mark Kelly interview.
Kamala Harris is, if she's the nominee, is going to be among the most liberal Democratic nominees the country's ever seen. So, and she's also a female, and he brings a lot to the table.
Barnes says Kelly is a more moderate Democrat, and there is a lot of talk nationally about him joining Harris as a VP. He says the reason he's a popular VP pick is due to the fact he's a former astronaut, a veteran, and his wife, Gabby Giffords, a former congresswoman, is a victim of gun violence. Barnes also believes Kelly has the ability to appeal to a wide demographic of people, which he says is similar to what former President Donald Trump did with his pick for VP.
Vance is not a former astronaut, but he's a brand new senator who wrote a very popular book, and he's from
request for comment on his name circulating as VP. However, last Wednesday, he did appear on MSNBC during the Republican National Convention.
With the selection of J.D. Vance, you have somebody that is only in that position as the vice presidential candidate because of his loyalty to Donald Trump, and that he would do what Mike Pence refused to do, which is to change the outcome of the election.
Kelly is also getting Kane tweeted that Senator Mark Kelly is dangerous for Republicans.
Okay. I actually think Kelly, like, he's no Shapiro, but he's definitely better than Bashir and Cooper. Yeah, maybe even a little better than Whitmer in terms of his speaking ability. I could see, yeah. I mean, at this point, I really don't care. I'm gonna vote for Harris, whoever she picks. I think they're all fine. As long as she doesn't do some crazy stuff like the equivalent of like McCain picking Sarah Palin. Like, yeah, fine. You want Kelly, great. You want to go with Whitmer, even better. You want to go with Shapiro? Yeah, I don't agree with him on Gaza, but I don't want Trump. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully we find out soon. But Harris doesn't need to rush here. She can kind of like milk this one. And we'll see everybody next time. So if you're enjoying this and you are a channel member, I want to thank you. If you're like, hey, I like your stuff, but I'm not ready to pay a couple bucks a month to support the content, understood. Next best thing you can do is like and share and comment, because that helps the algorithm increase awareness of our channel. And share it on Twitter if you can, because my Twitter live stream is no worky right now. All right, nerds. See you next time. Bye, nerds.